Imagine this. This is not a movie or a video game. It is a thought experiment with a single rule. A modern army appears today with 21st century technology facing Nazi Germany at the height of its power. And the question is not who has better weapons. The real question is whether technology can win a war when logistics, territory, and time are against you. Stay, because the answer is not as simple as you think. We are in 1942. The Third Reich controls much of Europe. It has factories running day and night, millions of soldiers mobilized, military trains crossing the continent, and real experience in total war. It is not an improvised army. It is a machine built to withstand massive blows. Now a modern army appears. Professional soldiers trained from day one. Automatic rifles with optics, drones, night vision systems, encrypted communications, modern armored vehicles, and advanced combat medicine. But there is a critical rule. There are no infinite reinforcements, no modern factories producing ammunition non-stop, no dedicated satellites. What they bring is everything they have. First, let's compare weapons. An average German soldier uses a Kar 98K or an MP40. They are reliable weapons, but slow. They have limited effective range and depend on the human eye. A modern soldier uses a rifle with optics, can fire accurately at long distances, fights at night, and communicates with his squad by radio in seconds. In a one-on-one engagement, the modern soldier almost always wins. He can detect first, fire first, and coordinate better. But war is not one against one. War is thousands against thousands. And that is where the real problems begin. Let's look at the sky. The Luftwaffe flies propeller-driven fighters, Messerschmitts, Focke-Wulfs, classic bombers. The modern army has jet aircraft, radar, air-to-air missiles, and smart anti-air systems. The first day would be devastating. Nazi pilots would not even know what is shooting them down. They would see explosions without hearing engines. They would think it is a secret weapon. Modern air superiority would be total, but controlling the air does not win a war by itself. The United States controlled the skies in Vietnam and did not win the war. The USSR controlled the skies in Afghanistan and did not win the war. Controlling the air does not mean controlling the ground. Now let's examine the tanks. The Panzer IV and Tiger are steel monsters for their time. Thick armor, powerful guns, but they are slow, consume enormous amounts of fuel, and are difficult to repair. A modern tank has thermal sensors, extreme range, and guided munitions. In a frontal clash, Nazi tanks would be destroyed before seeing the enemy. But destroying tanks does not destroy a nation. The real problem is not the tanks, it is the factories. And that is where the logistical nightmare begins. Germany in 1942 has its own industry. It has steel, coal, workers, trains, and internal routes. It can produce simple weapons in mass quantities. The modern army brings complex weapons. Every missile used is irreplaceable. Every drone lost is permanent. Every destroyed vehicle is a lasting loss. Germany can lose 10,000 rifles and produce another 10,000 within months. The modern army loses a smart missile and cannot manufacture another one there. It becomes a race between extreme quality and massive quantity. Now think about the numbers. The Third Reich mobilized more than 10 million soldiers during the war. A realistic modern army would not bring more than 100,000 troops. That means for every modern soldier, there are 100 potential enemies. Even if each modern soldier is 10 times more effective, numbers crush over time, and war is always a war of time. Now comes the psychological factor. At first, Nazi soldiers would see things that look like magic. Night attacks, invisible drones, precise explosions, troops appearing and disappearing. The initial panic would be real. Rumors would spread about divine weapons or impossible technology. But fear adapts. When you see 10 comrades fall, you keep fighting. When you see 100 fall, you keep fighting, because the regime allows no other option. The Third Reich was not just an army. It was an armed ideology. Surrender was punished. Failure was punished. Disobedience was punished. Suppose the modern army advances quickly and takes Berlin. Suppose it removes the top leadership. Then what? There are millions of civilians. There are hidden soldiers. There are officers who refuse to surrender. There are underground networks. Every city is a problem. Every town is a potential ambush. You cannot watch an entire country with drones. You need soldiers patrolling streets. You need time. And time is the one thing the modern army does not have. In addition, Germany had scientists and engineers. They developed rockets, primitive missiles, and chemical weapons. If they see they are losing, they do not surrender. They escalate. They begin to use gas. They begin to use desperate weapons. They begin to destroy their own infrastructure so no one else can use it. The war stops being purely military and becomes suicidal. It is no longer about winning. It is about making the enemy lose more. Now think about fuel. A modern army consumes absurd amounts of diesel, jet fuel, and electricity. Germany already had oil problems. problems, but it had basic infrastructure. If you cut modern fuel, modern warfare ends. Without fuel, there are no drones, no tanks, no aircraft. Only infantry with expensive weapons remains. And Germany has cheap infantry in enormous quantities. There is also the issue of climate. A modern army is designed to function with clean supply chains. Germany has brutal winters, mud, snow, destroyed roads. Mud stopped Hitler in Russia. Mud would also stop a modern army. Sensors fail, vehicles get stuck, drones cannot fly in storms. Technology does not eliminate nature. Nature always collects its price. Now think about the morale of the modern army. They are professional soldiers, but they know they cannot be replaced. Every casualty hurts. Every wounded soldier is a major loss. Germany can send inexperienced youth to the front. The modern army cannot. It needs years of training to create an effective soldier. Germany can produce a soldier in weeks. It is harsh, but real. Modern warfare also depends on information, satellites, GPS, networks. Here they do not exist. The modern army loses its invisible advantage, the global eye. It depends on drones and radios, which can be intercepted or destroyed. Germany may not understand the technology, but it can cut cables, eliminate operators, bomb command centers. Technology without a network becomes blind. So what would really happen? At the beginning, the modern army wins every battle. It dominates the air. It dominates the tanks. It dominates the night. But it cannot dominate production. It cannot dominate numbers. It cannot dominate time. It starts rationing ammunition. It starts saving drones. It starts avoiding large engagements. It shifts from offense to containment. And Germany shifts from army to permanent resistance. The war transforms. It is no longer a war of fronts. It becomes a war of attrition. And there, Germany is dangerous because it knows how to lose cities without losing will. Because its industry can relocate. Because its propaganda can reinvent itself. Because its population is accustomed to sacrifice. Now comes the uncomfortable part. Could a modern army defeat the entire Nazi army? In battles, yes. In technology, absolutely. In intelligence, probably. But in a total, prolonged war, without reinforcements or its own industry, not necessarily. Because war is not won by the one with the best weapons, but by the one who can keep fighting longer. Technology wins battles. Logistics wins wars. And the population decides the end. The real lesson is not military. It is human. We believe progress makes us invincible. That technology separates us from the past. But war is still fear, hunger, bodies, factories, and time. A modern army against the Third Reich wouldn't be a clean victory. It would be a clash between two machines, one highly advanced and one brutally resilient. Perhaps the modern army would win quickly if it destroys factories first, if it breaks railway lines, if it eliminates production before eliminating soldiers. Perhaps it would win if it avoids occupying cities and only paralyzes the system. But if it tries to control territory, if it tries to govern, if it tries to pacify, the war drags on. And in a long war, even technology wears down. And there is something even more unsettling. If a modern army appears in 1942, it does not only change the war, it changes history, it changes science, it changes politics. Germany would capture modern weapons. It would try to copy them, adapt them. It would not match them, but it would learn. Every month that passes, the gap shrinks. Not because Germany advances, but because the modern army wears down. The conclusion is simple and brutal. The modern army would win all major battles, but it could lose the war if it becomes trapped in it. Not from lack of power, but from overconfidence. History shows again and again that empires do not fall from a single blow. They fall from exhaustion. Now I leave you with the final question. If you were the commander of that modern army, would you bet on your technology or on destroying the factories first? Would you seek military victory or industrial surrender? Is war won with missiles or with hunger? I'll read you in the comments. If you want more impossible scenarios like this, subscribe.